This is just terrible. Like this, I feel like it's running at 30 FPS. Got a $3,000 computer, runs at 30 FPS. Checks out. How do I pitch up? There we go. Can I shoot from the air? Where's the teammates at?
Wounded teammate detected.
Give me that arm.
Teammate death detected.
What's this gun anyway? Why can't I run? What's my shift? Is it a... I'm pressing shift and nothing's happening.
Vital signs improving.
Wait, how do I fly? What's this B button do? There we go. I got like folded or some 65 FPS. There's like a limiter or something on this. Hey everybody, this is GasKills, and this is Off the Grid. This is a new extraction shooter that's also going to be released with the Battle Royale, which I'm looking forward to. And overall, first impressions, I've played about an hour in this so far. I'll start off with the good. So I made a list of all the good stuff that I can see in the first hour. And start off with the gunplay. The gunplay is pretty decent. It needs a little bit of polish, but I believe this is a very early build for this game. Overall gunplay, though, I think it needs a little bit of polish, and I think it could become really good as far as a gunplay, especially for somebody with a keyboard and mouse. I did not try a controller on this game, even though I do have one sitting next to me. I do plan on playing this a little bit and streaming it a little bit more. But I'll get into the details and why I haven't played it more than an hour yet after I get over with the good in the game. So overall, the design is really good. It gives me like Blackout, PUBG, Warzone, Apex, Titanfall kind of impressions. They took a little bit from every one of the Battle Royale games, but I feel like they molded it into their own little formula here, which I'm actually pretty excited to see the full release come out for this thing and see after it's polished up. Upon that release to see how it actually plays and runs. And I also really like the fact that they have the 3-plate armor in the game instead of there being tiered armor. Anytime I've ever played a game with tiered armor, it's never been a great experience, i.e. like Warzone 2. They initially released with tiered armor, and it was just kind of like RNG to find the tier 3 where you'd have 3 plates, and I felt like that just wasn't that game. What else do we have? So this game is built on Unreal Engine 5, and that's only been out for probably 3 years now. So this is current, absolutely current tech for building games on as far as game design. And a lot of companies aren't utilizing it yet because they're afraid to get away from last-gen consoles. But in reality, they have to keep just moving forward and upping the bar to keep people impressed. And I think that's a good thing that they built this on the new Unreal Engine. But that's going to come with its own set of challenges, which I'll get into later in this video after I go over the next 2 subjects here. So the randomized loot in the game is decent. You get a nice amount of drops everywhere. You go to loot up these big weapon caches, which are big crates, and then there's also smaller caches for ammo and currency, so you can buy different items and buy people back, essentially. And this extraction shooter here is almost like a resurgence type thing, where you have a 60-second cooldown if you die, and then you spawn back in as long as your team's not wiped. And after a certain part, when the zone reaches, it's locked down, so you can no longer be automatically brought back. But there are little buy zones everywhere on the map, little green buy zones you can go and purchase your teammates back for. And there's leg and armor attachments, as you can see in game. They don't have real arms and real legs. They have attachable arms and attachable legs, and it's kind of weird the way they kind of previewed that before you get into the game. I'm not going to go ahead and spoil that for you guys, though. You can watch those little cutscenes and come up with your own opinions on them. And we already talked about the BR shooter and the time cooldown. I would say the only thing I'm not super pleased about in this game is the self-revives, but at the same time, it looks like you can only carry 1, which is good. We don't need people carrying 5, 10 self-revives, especially if they come out with a solos mode, because that just becomes a pain when people are camping on rooftops. All right, so let's get into the things that need to be addressed in this game for it to be successful or semi-successful. The number one thing they have to jump on immediately is the optimization. So I'm running a pretty much a top of the line AMD build, and I know a lot of people with Intel builds and 4090s that are having similar issues, but the frames are super inconsistent. There's also apparently a frames bug where it locks you at 80, which I don't think I had that because I was able to get to like 120, 130. But it's just super inconsistent in game. If you're looking at one part of the map, you'll go down to like 40 FPS, even if you're on low settings. And it doesn't seem like a low or high settings fix that. You'll look at the other side of the map and you'll be at 120. So if you're moving around, especially on like a keyboard and mouse like I am, you kind of count on the frames to be consistent, so you can rely on your manual input and be able to track people. But when the frames get inconsistent, it becomes a little harder to track people. So it's pretty bad as far as frames go. Like I can deal with bad frames, but when I start getting a headache from looking at a game, that's kind of the reason I got off after playing for an hour. Even though I do want to play it more, I feel like it needs this optimization like sooner rather than later. Like I honestly, if I was a developer, I would not have released a game with frames that were this chaotic. But who knows? Maybe this is such an early build, and they didn't have a big enough test pool to be able to kind of mirror this. So it's hard to say with like software development, game development, because there's so many factors involved. What else do we have here? We have the movement speed. So I feel like the movement speed in the game is good. I feel like it needs a little bit more speed to kind of keep up with all this flying and jumping stuff. Like I feel like the two aren't matched exactly yet. It needs a little bit of polishing. Maybe it needs like 10-15% movement speed buff in game, and it'd be pretty good. And again, I already talked about the balancing. Mainly like weapon balancing and stuff's going to be a big factor after they get all these initial things done with their optimization. But I feel like overall it's fairly balanced. Some weapons are super overpowered though. There's like that one shotgun. It's like an auto shot. I can't recall the name. I think it's Squall. Yeah, it's a Squall shotgun. Apparently that thing's kind of overpowered compared to the pump shotgun. So they'll probably have to balance that out along with the legs that allow you to run, like the Roadrunner legs to make you run like the Flash. You have like a little electric essence behind you as you're running. It's kind of crazy how fast they are. So I feel like that's going to have to get balanced out with some other of the speed mechanics like I was talking about, like the running. And they also have like mortar legs, which are a cool idea. But again, I think the whole sequence of going through the mortar action to actually set them up takes too long compared to like, say, somebody that has legs. So I just feel like the balancing needs some work. Now this part is, in my opinion, one of the worst parts in the game, other than the obviously the FPS. The voice actors and their dialogue are just atrocious. They try to have like this super edgy dialogue, and it just comes off as being like, what are you even talking about? Like, where is this coming from? And I'm not going to repeat that on YouTube because YouTube probably won't like the dialogue in this game, to be honest with you. Like I said, edgy, but it's an odd dialogue in general. Like all the dialogue in the game is very odd, and it's almost intrusive when you're trying to play because they won't stop talking. And again, this goes back to more of the graphic stuff. I feel like this is an earlier build, so I can't be too critical of this, but hopefully they release this with some more polished graphics, some higher quality textures and everything like that. So that's pretty much it. That's my ramble, and I went for almost 10 minutes, 9 minutes. It's not too bad. Overall, though, I'm looking forward to playing this game, especially upon the release, the full release when it's optimized and everything. I feel like this is going to be a fun game to play, as long as they don't have skill-based matchmaking and they don't have super strong like controller aim assist where everybody can aim like a pro. I feel like that just takes away from the fun of the game. When I started playing online games, it was like you have a little bit of aim assist, but it wasn't overwhelming. You'd actually have to really work your craft to get very good at it. And I feel like that's been lost. And that was kind of like a reason to keep grinding, was to get better and not have the game do all the work for you. So I will be streaming this a little bit more, and in the future, as long as they do optimize it. Mainly, I'm just I'm worried about the frames issue in the game. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Short little video. I don't have any crazy gameplay of this. I think I ended on a second place spot with like 6 kills or something like that for like the third game. But again, it's the optimization's hurting my eyeballs. So let me know what you guys think of this game. What are your thoughts as far as like the optimization, the weapon balancing, the movement? Do you guys like the overall theme of the game? Do you think it's corny? And any other complaints? Maybe you have more time in the game. Just leave those in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the game. I'm curious to see what everybody else's ideas are. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.